What's up, guys, and welcome to another episode of Helpful Dreams. Today we're going to be diving into time management and how to take a grip of our productivity, and we're going to be referring on Jim Rohn's lessons of time management in order to carry us through this subject and to solidify these ideas into our mind where we can become the most productive versions of ourselves. Time management is sometimes easier said than done, but the most difficult step, as with any major achievement, is to actually make the decision to start. We must start to take a grip of our time and not let it slide through the cracks, because killing time is a form of suicide, not murder. Remember that. When you're letting time slip through the cracks, you're doing the harm to yourself. It's important to audit your time first and look at where you're at and where you want to go, and realize maybe how much time you're spending on certain things, such as surfing social media or binge watching Netflix. It's okay to do those things, but we'd be surprised if we looked at how much we really spend doing activities that aren't carrying us towards our ultimate goals. The good thing is the information is out there that will lead us to creating our best lives. It's not the lack of information that's the problem, it's our lack of action on that information. And so we must hear these things and then also develop the practice of doing them. Philosophy number 1 for time management is to make your own plan, because if you don't make your own plan, you'll become part of someone else's. And Jim Rohn says, what do you think other people have in store for you? Not much. Designing your life is another way of saying, I'm going to make life happen rather than let life happen to me. We need to take the objective approach to plan our lives, set in motion, and be intentional about each hour that we spend doing something. This will lead to planning your life day to day until eventually you look back and you've accomplished everything that you set out to do. Philosophy number 2 is writing down your goals. Jim Rohn believes that you actually have to write down your goals. Not just Jim Rohn, but most of the self-development community stresses that you must actually physically write down your goals and not keep it all in your head. For a long time, I kept everything in my head, and I just kept everything in mind and said, oh, I'll do this and I'll do that. But it didn't really solidify until I started writing it down, and I was able to refer back to it. And I was able to break it down into smaller objectives when I put it out on paper. And so this step is super important, and it's most often overlooked. So take the time to sit down, focus, write it down. Philosophy number 3 from Jim Rohn is if you don't control your time will control you. We've all had days that we haven't properly planned and we wanted to get something done, and then before we knew it, we were at the end of the day running out of time and looking back on the day, and we didn't really get much done. The trick is grabbing the reins of the day and taking control, waking up every day with intention and sticking to that intention and knowing what you're doing. That's the difference between just being drugged through life and actually controlling your life and getting things done that you want and moving on to a better future. Philosophy number 4 from Jim Rohn's time management advice is if it's simple to do, it's also simple not to do. And so as well as mapping out those larger objectives that we have and those big dreams that we have in life, we need to take into account all the small mundane tasks and properly block out time where we can get those done one after another in between the larger objectives that we're trying to accomplish. If you group them all together, they're easier just to knock down. You have to think of the 2-minute rule. If it takes 2 minutes to do, then you should probably do it right when you think about it. If it takes 10 minutes to do, batch it with the other 10-minute activities. And if it takes longer than that, then you may have to block bigger blocks of time to tackle it all. But boxing all the simple tasks together will ensure that they'll get done, and if you write them down, it allows you the ability to not let them slip through the cracks. And this is super important because things can get away from us easily if we do not handle these small tasks over a longer period of time. Jim Rohn's philosophy number 5 is desire loses its value without urgency. So it's important to set commitments and set deadlines, or else things won't get done. You have to set the deadline, commit, and then hold yourself accountable if you don't meet that deadline. Make losing painful for yourself, because we have to learn to motivate ourselves, and one of the biggest motivations is when that timeline is ticking and the deadline's coming closer and we need to crunch it all in. And so that's the times when things really get done. If you say that you're going to get something done in the future and you don't make the commitment to set a time on it, you'll just let it slide like most people. And this is how a lot of people live their lives and let a lot of time slip through the cracks. Jim Rohn's philosophy number 6 is to master the art of setting goals and look forward into the future rather than behind you. We have to refer to our goals daily to make sure if something didn't get done during any given day, that it can be carried into the next day and it can be set to accomplish the next day. We can't let things just kind of hang loose. We want to refer to our goals again and again. We also want to evaluate our goals in order to distinguish between what is important and what's not important to us. And we need to do this on a regular basis because things change, goals change, and we need to audit the way we spend our time, block out time. Most people greatly underestimate the time that we have each day. This is because they're used to kind of letting time fly by and not taking control of it. But we have to realize that every successful person of the past has the same amount of time as we do. If you're looking at the time that you spent in the past that you've let slip through the cracks, don't worry, because we have to remember that each day we have the opportunity to make the commitment to spend our time more wisely, and you can start from now. And I hope you guys have a relaxing weekend and you're able to reflect, but maybe this weekend on Sunday, sit down, begin to map out what your Monday is going to look like and then the rest of the week. And remember to block in time for your productivity objectives, as well as your time to maybe go on a walk and decompress in order to manage your energy levels and keep momentum flying into the future. That concludes our time for today. Thank you for stopping by. If you like this type of content, please subscribe. It helps get the message out to more people, and that's the name of the game. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next one.